This is your Frilly Potato, and today I have a very special guest joining me, Ollie.
Hi, I'm Oli, and I'm known as I'm Potato on Instagram.
I'll be asking you a few quick questions. To start with, how long have you been wearing Lolita fashion?
I just found out that this winter will mark 15 years.
15
Yeah.
years! Oh my god! You're like a
Yeah, it's weird.
veteran.
My boyfriend was joking. He's like, "Do you get a consolation prize? Do you get like a fancy Lolita watch at 20?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't think so."
But make it happen, for different milestone, like the badges you can collect, the progress.
That'd be pretty cool.
When it's first year or third year, fifth year, it's very shiny and stuff, and then by the time it's 10, 20, it's just wow, you're part of furniture now.
You're like the auntie furniture at this point.
Yes. What is your favorite sub-style?
Looking back at the 15 years, I'm gonna say casual Lolita at the end of the day. Maybe casual sweet with a hint of country. I think that's really the way it goes because I really like getting fancy dresses and dressing it down.
Looking forward, is there any particular style or maybe a theme you want to challenge yourself more with?
I kind of want to do more gothic. It's weird because I'm not a goth. I recently bought the pleather moitié dress off of Lace Market, and I'm like, I don't know if I can wear it, but I'm gonna try.
Oh my god, I'm looking forward to gothic Ollie. It's probably not a debut, but a rare appearance. No.
Yeah, I don't do it often.
Do you remember what was the first item you wanted to buy?
So the first item I actually bought was a pair of socks. I bought it at Anime Expo before 2010. And it was just it was the Sweet Jam socks. I actually remember it was a long time ago. I think the first thing I really wanted to buy was Royal Poodle. So that was, I eventually got it, realized it really wasn't for me. It was more of the aesthetic on the Kera magazine. But I mean, at least I tried it and I got it. And then, I dived in.
Nice. Yeah. What is the item that you think is your holy grail item?
So my friends actually is at fault for this because I had thought about selling Soap Bubble so many times. I'm if I post it online, I'm sell it. And I had friends DM me and be like, you better not sell it. You're going to regret it and we're going to hear about it. And they're right because eventually there was a re-release and everything. And I'm I'm kind of glad, because they never really released it in the color I have. And I sold it once and then I kind of regretted it. And I waited years to get it. And I got it for such a deal. It was $50 when shipping was $25. So it was such a good deal at the time. So that's never going to happen again.
Yes. What is your favorite brand?
I feel it rotates. There are days where it's AP. And then there's days where it's ETC in my melody basket. It just depends if I feel more otome or more Lolita that day.
Yeah, it's never grabbed my attention until you've been posting a lot of it, and I was maybe this is I
felt the same way until I saw some of their spring items. It's usually their spring items because it's all daisies, but it's otome and super toned down, something you can easily wear when it's really hot out. And I'm okay, I can vibe with this, and that's how I started liking Melody Basket. Mm-hmm. And their sizing, they offer L sizing, so it's a little bit constricting with the M, even though it fits. The L size is just fine. So, yeah,
that is really good tip. Eglfashion can be quite tricky when it comes to fit, even if you're not necessarily considered plus size, but if you're not Japanese size, Japanese size, it can be tricky.
And I know APOP specifically, they have tiny shoulders because now I gained a little weight since I first started Lolita, and I realized that I went through my second puberty growing up, going into my 30s. So things don't fit like they used to.
I really agree with second puberty part, as I'm also getting to 30s, but I think it also what we could withstand when we were young and full of energy. Nowadays I realize comfort is almost non-negotiable.
My mom used to have the saying when I was growing up, and it was a Spanish saying where it was la belleza cuesta, which means beauty has its costs. And it's kind of well, you gotta suck it up if you want to look this good. And I grew up with, I better look good and suck it up and just deal with it until maybe COVID. I think when the pandemic happened, I was I can't go out and get dressed. And I forced myself to get dressed because it made me happy to get dressed. But it was okay, well, now what? And I'd rather be on the couch, in my pajamas than all these layers.
Because for me, resurgence in Lolita fashion during COVID, I started getting back into it because I was spending so much time at home. And then I realized a lot of my like Lolita dresses were just here. And that's all I really have. Like, that's like how I was like a lot more free time because I just can't go outside anymore. You know, there's a lot of guidelines and rules of like how to make an outfit a Lolita outfit. And while as somebody who has been in fashion for a long time, we don't follow those rules like to the T, but I do appreciate like having those guidelines starting out. Because
so I have this conversation with my boyfriend, like even geek culture in general, like there's like a YouTube video called like Anime 2001, and it's like an anime convention that took place in 2001, and you look at that and you're like, they're the stereotype nerds that you think of when you want to like, I don't know, poke fun at like the nerd culture. But like nowadays you can go out and you see a nerd that's like head to toe on point.
Even though I do joke about like us being like aunties and stuff like that, it's quite heartwarming to see younger generation thinks what we wear is cool, like, you know, and it's like they have their own like style and they have like their own like takes on it.
I also like that nowadays, like because there's so much exploration even in Lolita, because the kids already know how to dress up. Like back in the day, like the being in that time where the rules were the say all be all, it was because half of us didn't know how to dress ourselves. Like, let's be real. Let's be real here. I was just talking about Anime 2001 conventions, and I'm like, we didn't know how to dress ourselves. I mean, I was the quirky kid in school that wore like rainbow colors of everything. Like, all right, we're going to teach you how to dress yourselves, but in Lolita. And that's really why it was there. But like, we took it so literally that I think we scared off so many people. But at the same time, it maintained Lolita in a way. It was weird.
Yeah.
So.
I recently caught up with like a few of my like friends who are leaders in Japanese community, and for them it was like so eye-opening just how many rules we had, and they were like, it's just clothes. And I was like, look.
But no, this is the lifestyle. You're in it for life.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think you understand like the dedication.
We make fun of people's knees in Lolita, but like that was like an actual thing back then. Like people would be like, you cannot show your knees. It's not modest. But it's like some of these Western girls, they're tall. We're like, I'm the shorter end. So like I like things to be short, but like I'm used to like the Western life where I'm like, yeah, please show your knees. I support you.
It's like, but like ankles. It's like, when berets stop being like, oh, what is that? Like, you're not wearing a head bow? I was like, yes.
I have like a whole box of berets. It's like underneath like my Lolita dresses, and I know that if I open that box, the box of berets is just gonna explode because I have them in like every color imaginable, but probably not every color because you can always get more. But yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice, there were 2 releases that time, and I think one was like a very plain OP with a lot of like pin tucks and details, and the other one was like a super sweet. It was that like flag print or flag. Not print side applique, and so all the young Lolitas love the flag one, whereas like all the aunties love like the
classical, like old school sweet. Oh my god! Like it was like I think when like Nakayoshi Bunny like made to order came out.
Oh my god!
So many of like my friends like from my generation of Lolita were like, what? Like non-print made to order. We were like, oh my god. And then like all the new Lolitas are like, oh, it's just
you don't get it. It was like you don't understand.
Yeah, or like that it's not like, you know, it was like, oh, the fabric is like cotton, not like the polyester. They're like, it's hard to look after it, and like, which I do get it, but like I was like, I don't think they quite understand.
We did the same thing, and then also we had to explain puppet circus and why that's important. We're like, yes, we know it's old, but you have to understand how important this print is.
Yeah, it's quite like cultural, like, you know, historical point of Lolita fashion history. Just speaking of like, you know, like these trends and stuff like that. Is there anything that you wish would come back, or on opposite, you're glad it's not very trendy anymore?
I used to like be like, oh, crosses again, because like my family's very religious growing up, and now I'm like, I have Holy Lantern and Navy, and I don't mind crosses. So that's like something at first that I didn't care for, but now I'm like, I'm fine with the crosses. It makes me feel a little edgier, but something I do want to Something I do want to come back is probably OTT. I like want to see people go all out and be as uncomfortable as they can be, or just wear like layers of wigs. I remember like I used to wear like 4 wigs at one point, and it'd be like one wig is like one part of the hair and then another part, and then I had the base wig and then another wig that was like styled as a bow, and I'm like, this is ridiculous, but my hair was very extra.
It's still great when people bring that level of extraness for like big events or like big conventions and stuff, because I feel like it allows to bring things to like a whole new playfulness level of like, oh, just go mad. Like,
art. It's great. Like you turn fashion into art. That's what it is. So.